questions, I just want to talk a little bit about the process,
Okay.
where we've been, and what the process is moving forward. So we have a vacancy on our school board, as you are aware. We have a 2-week window to allow community members to file an application, expressing their interest and telling us a little bit about themselves and why they would be a great candidate for our school board. Based on the applicants that we received, which was a total of 6, all of the applications were blindly sent to all of the school board members to review and to score. And all of those scores were then submitted to Tiffany, and they were put into one big matrix of scores. And when they were provided back to us, all of the scores were also blind, so we didn't know who school board member 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the board members did not know applicant 1 through 6.
Okay.
So it was very blind. So it truly was based on the application and your responses. So tonight we're interviewing 3 candidates that scored the highest of the 6 candidates, and at the end of our meeting this evening we will be discussing the applicants, and hopefully we'll be making a decision.
Okay.
All right, that's kind of where we've been and hopefully where we're heading. And this is being recorded and will be posted live online after the meeting is over for the community to view.
Okay.
All right, well, we're going to start off. We're each going to ask you a question. And I just would like you to tell us a little bit about yourself, your background as it relates to public education, and how you've contributed to Shakopee Public Schools in the past.
Okay. My name is Paul Hooverson. I've lived in Shakopee for about 30 years. Grew up across the river in Bloomington for part of my childhood, and down in the Caribbean for another part of my childhood. I graduated from a private school, small private school. Went to St. Olaf College, a bachelor's degree in math. Went into business. I had a software business here in Shakopee for 20-some years. And I got tired of that, went back to school, got a master's degree in educational leadership, and been working in that field since 2014. And I've been doing, I teach students of all age, but mostly high school students, mostly math and test prep. I've also managed a national learning center, a private learning center, nationally franchised. And I volunteered at the schools ever since my boys were in kindergarten back in 2013. So I did a lot of volunteering at Jackson Elementary, and did some volunteering at West Middle School until the pandemic hit. And even with that, I did some online volunteer tutoring there. So education is my passion. It's my second career, and I went into software because that's where the money was supposedly, and it was the big thing, coming up, and I did that for a while, and I just kind of burned out, and I remembered back in my college days I had actually wanted to be a teacher, and everybody said, no, don't do that. So but I decided I'd give that a shot, and that's what I've been doing.
Thank you.
What are the qualities of an effective school board director?
One of the things is listening. I mean, there's an awful lot of competing, information, competing opinions, listening. I think you have to be a person who's calm and level-headed, fair-minded. I think for me, really, I guess where I'm coming from is from the students and teachers. I mean, I think that whatever decisions that we make has got to be for them, because they're, the students they only get one shot at their education, and the teachers are the ones that are the most important people for the students. So I think you have to listen a lot, be calm, and keep in mind that you're dealing with 8,000 students that need somebody to be looking out for them.
This is kind of a two-part question. So how do you measure the success of a
school district? And in what ways do you think our district could make improvements, if you have some specific examples?
Yeah, how do you measure the success of a school district? I think one of the things is you look at the morale of the teachers and the staff. If they're not happy, something's wrong. I think you look at test scores, and I say this as someone who tutors students to help them improve their test scores. I don't think test scores are everything. Just because one of the motivations I've had for volunteering is I volunteer for students who probably wouldn't be able to afford the services that I would provide for other families. So I think a successful school district would be working to help every student succeed and not be like I'm thinking of the Young Sheldon TV show where young Sheldon raised the test scores for his whole high school just because of the one kid. I think that you got to look at all the kids and get them all prepared for their next step. How do you, and the other question was, how do you tell if you're succeeding? Is that the second part?
Or what are some things that you think that Shakopee in particular could improve upon?
Okay. I'm actually happy with the Shakopee school system, and I know there's been a lot of upheaval the last several years, but my boys have been here for almost 10 years if you count their preschool, and I've been really happy. They go to school and they're happy, and they come home and I think they're learning, and they haven't had any significant issues. So I think that from my perspective, things have gone well for them. What could we do better? I think every school is learning that there is a place for technology, that there's a place for online learning. It's something that's kind of been forced on us, but I think there is value in that. Even if we still, you need kids in the classroom, and you need the teachers to be able to look the kids in the eye. But at the same time, there's a lot that can be done online, and that's something I found for myself when I was in graduate school. A lot of older people going back to master's degrees, and some of them were kind of afraid to ask questions in class because they didn't want to seem like the one that didn't know. So I way back, this was back in 2004, I set up an online support group for the students, and I found that if they could ask questions anonymously, that kind of took away the fear, and then people could respond, and they said, hey, what did the teacher mean by this? And they got support that way, and so yeah, I think there's always room for more technology, and I really see, for myself, I've worked with students all over the world, and what we can do with online learning now is far advanced from what I did back in 2004.
Excuse me. The school board currently has 4 standing committees: community engagement, finance and facility, policy, personnel committee. Please describe which of these committees you think you could best contribute to, and why.
Let's see. The one the two that strike me the most would be policy and personnel. Policy because I like to be. I think of myself as a thinking person. I'm kind of if you have people that are on the one spectrum where they're just do and go, kind of like do first and think later. I'm more on the let's think about this and before we do something. So I tend to be more like that. Let's see. So the finance and facilities, the finance part of it, I do have some accounting background. My software company we produced software systems for inventory management and accounting. So I have skills there. Community engagement. That one I'd have to learn a little bit more about what specifically is done there. And I think personnel, so the policy appeals to me because of my thought processes, and then the personnel, just because, I don't know, I find that I enjoy being around teachers, and I like to hear their ideas. So if personnel is involved in, looking at teacher credentials or looking at who do we want to hire for this position, that would be something that would appeal to me. I think back in my life, teachers are some of the most important people that I've ever, encountered for myself. And facilities, the facilities is like maintenance and like strategically, where are you going to build your next building, or when are you going to do the next addition, or what would appeal to me with that would be just, for example, I could see myself getting involved with what can we do to make our facility safer, given that, COVID may not be the only pandemic we ever see. What are we doing to keep the building safe for the next one that comes along? That would appeal to me.
Thank you. If you finish.
Paul, I'm going to suggest a scenario, and we would like your reaction to it. At the beginning of the school year, a parent of a kindergarten student calls you and states that they are concerned that their child's bus stop is 2 blocks away. They are concerned for the safety of their child and want the bus to pick up at their driveway. How do you respond to this parent?
Yeah. You want to make sure that you tell the parent that, I understand you have a kindergarten, I understand that safety is a concern. I would probably ask more specifically, why do you think it's the 2-block distance? What is it about that? Is it just that you can't see the child? Have you any reason to be afraid? Is it just, what other parents are there? I would try to find out more about the situation. And that, I know that's a tough thing, because I've heard parents this past year complain about the distances are getting bigger for the kids. You want to be empathetic. I would ask her. She wants to be picked up at her driveway. What I would probably tell her is I will contact the bus company to see what their, how did they come up with the stops that they are, and I would ask the parent, if your driveway were the bus stop in your neighborhood, would the other parents feel safe with their child, walking 2 blocks to your driveway? And just unfortunately, not everybody can have their child picked up at their driveway, and you try to do things the most fair way you can. And if she has specific concerns, I would try to find out, what can we do to address the specific concerns. If it's a general concern about it's just too much of a walk, I might, as nicely as I could, and you don't want to be, you always hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you have to just say, this is the reality that we live in. We just don't have a bus stopping at every driveway. And is there a nice way to say that? But I would certainly want to find out exactly why why the parent is concerned, and see if I really thought there was a safety concern, that would be something that I would definitely have to talk to other people and see, see what could be done if it really is something that is a solvable issue. Yeah, you do the best you can, and you be as supportive as you can. At the same time, there's still the real world, and I would hope that if a parent were concerned, and if you listen and give them a chance to talk about it, and maybe ask them questions about, if the shoe were on the other foot, with the other parents coming to your driveway, walking that due distance. I mean, you'd hope that would be enough to reassure the parent.
Okay, thank you.
So I have another scenario. A decision has been made by the school board. You were in the minority on the vote. After the vote, you are contacted with a petition from 45 community members who disagree with the board's decision. How do you respond?
As I understand it, the school board, I mean, once a decision is made by the board, my feeling would be that all the board has to support that. All I would do is I would just say, you know what, you shouldn't be coming to me. If you have a petition, bring it to the whole board. I mean, it's not something that, it's like triangulation. I mean, you just can't have competing factions on a board, and I think that has become more clear just the last couple years, is that you just don't want a divided board. You may not agree with every decision, but if you can't be part of the team and support the decisions that are made, to me, that if that's where you're at, I think that you should resign. I don't think you should stay and be a troublemaker, or be a cause of division in the board. I think there is a place for debate, but I think once the vote is done, once the decision is in, that's when you get behind it.
Thank you.
Why are you the best candidate for this opportunity?
I don't like talking about myself. I don't like, I don't know, part of my background, I have a hard time saying why I'm the best. The reason that I applied is this is something that I have wanted to do for a while. I wanted to do it 15 years ago, and my twin baby boys knocked the stuffings out of me, and I figured you guys needed somebody who wasn't sleep deprived, and so I kind of put it on the back burner. But this is, I feel that I do have the passion for education. I have an understanding of how education works and how students need to be the ones that are learning and picking up on what's there for them. And they have to be met at different places. So I have that understanding, and I have great empathy for teachers and for students, and all the different types of learnings that they have. I have training. I have a degree in Master of Arts in Educational Leadership. I've been a community member. I've been involved with the schools. I know many of the teachers. I think they trust me. I think they've appreciated me. And I have my own boys in the schools, and that's one of the things. I mean, I don't have the luxury of saying, oh, I'm going to take my boys, I'm going to move them into some other place. I mean, this is where they are, and this is I want to make sure that they have as good an education as they can get, and not not just my boys, but I do see what's going on with my boys, and just want to make sure that Shakopee schools are strong. So again, my application was, part of it was I just wanted to, I felt I didn't know anything about who might be applying and who might not be applying, but I thought if this is something I wanted to do, this is an opportunity, I can step up, it would be a good example for my boys, and I just thought, whatever the case would be, I've done my, what I could do to make sure that the board is as strong as it could be. So I can't say I'm the best because I don't know who the other people are and I don't know what their backgrounds are and so forth. I just know that I would be a good a person for this responsibility, for this position. I do have a lot of confidence in my capabilities. I do like to read. I do like to learn things. I noticed one of the requirements is continuing education, so, and that's something that I would enjoy doing. I mean, I've actually done that just myself. I've done a lot of online learning in different programs, and so I like that. I would be able to do that, like to do that. So I don't think there would be anything lacking in what I would bring to the board. I think I have what you need. Whether it's better than somebody else's, I don't know.
So we are at our 20-minute allocated time for each interview. So I thank you for coming tonight. So our process is that we will be interviewing one other candidate, and then toward the end of our board meeting tonight, we will discuss and hopefully we'll make a selection as to who that person would be to fill that role. Now, there is a 30-day waiting period for the community to provide feedback to us, so it's kind of like a holding period. But somebody will be back in touch with you either way to let you know what the decision was. So I appreciate your time tonight.
Yeah, thank you. During the holding time, is there things that we could be doing to kind of prepare to hit the ground running when the time comes?
Probably, yes, and we could work on that transition.
Okay.
Once